Yeah, I'll show you a picture of the camera my brother got me after the show. If you want, I can send you that off the air. But welcome
Yeah.
to Week 9 NFL preview of Utopia Football Insider. I'm Chris Ransom, and filling in for Oren Shiri is William Yanish. Oren is watching the 2024 World Series. I told him last week that if the Dodgers Yankees went to a game 5, he could have this day off to watch the World Series because a few weeks ago the NLCS was on and we had to do a show during the game. It wasn't a deciding game or a game clinching game, but I know Oren really wanted to watch the Mets Dodgers. I don't blame him. But yeah, as far as that game goes, it is the Yankees lead the Dodgers 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th, and I'm going to we're speaking of New York. We got Texans Jets. That's the Thursday night game tomorrow. I'm taking the Jets to pull the upset. I know the Texans have kicked ass this year, but Diggs is Nico Collins is out. There's a limited capacity of weapons. Other guys like John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, they're going to have to step up for Stroud in order for the Texans to win this. But both teams are really depleted at middle linebacker. Christian Harris and Azeez Al-Shahir are out for the Texans. C.J. Mosley's out for the Jets at middle linebacker. This feels like a game where the running backs are going to win it. Joe Mixon for the Texans, Breece Hall for the Jets. This feels like a game where the running backs are going to go off. But
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Jets to win because I feel like they need this more than the Texans. They're 2-6. The Texans are 6-2. Texans can lose this game and still win the division very easily, but winning this game does strengthen their odds of getting that number 2 seed. And if the Texans are going to get the AFC title this year, I think they've got to be the 2 seed at least because they're not beating the Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills on the road. They got to at least host one of those teams in the divisional round have a shot at getting the AFC title. And right now, I'm the only one on the site taking the Jets, even though the Jets are favored by 2 according to the sports books. Sports books have the Jets as a 1-2-point favorite. But I'm going to go 21-16 Jets.
This is one of those games where it has to really, the Jets have to decide what they're doing this season. And Aaron Rodgers coming in there and no offensive line, and just how that whole situation went. Yeah, no, I gladly take the Jets, and they need to, see if Jordan Travis is healthy enough to come in and get some reps and try to decide that. So yeah, no, I'll definitely take the Jets in this one. And
I agree. If the Jets keep losing games and they're out of contention, at that point you got to play Jordan Travis and find out what you got with him, and maybe
mhm.
EJ Manuel, but more so Travis. But looking at the Jets, the reason they lost the Bills in Week 6 and the Steelers in Week 7 is in Week 6 their nickel corner Michael Carter got injured, and in Week 7 DJ Reed got injured. Both of those guys ended up playing in Week 8 though, despite not practicing most of the week. And the Jets are injured at safety, but their top 3 corners were able to do a good job shutting down Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. And those corners are healthy, and Diggs and Nico are out for the Texans. I think that's going to spell success for the Jets unless the Texans get the tight ends involved. And I'm saying don't just get Dalton Schultz involved. This is a great matchup for Cade Stover. Chuck Clark is out at strong safety. Tony Adams is out at free safety. Ashton Davis, the backup safety, the number 3 safety, is out too. This is a great. I would run the ball and attack the safeties because you're dealing with the number 4, number 5 safety on the Jets starting this week. So I would just feed Mixon the ball and attack the safeties. That would be the game plan, so that the safeties, and then you can get Tank Dell and some of these other guys involved as you do that. But this would
Mhm.
be a game where I would feed Mixon and I would feed the tight ends, mainly deploying some Tampa 2. We talked about Tampa 2 during the Steelers Jets game a few weeks ago, and the Steelers ended up listening to me that game because opening formation of the Steelers Jets game, they actually deployed 12 personnel with Darnell Washington and Freiermuth. So they actually listened to us. But yeah,
Mhm.
the Texans, I think 12 personnel is how you beat the Jets if you're the Texans. If
Yeah,
they come
the
out and
Texans
try
have
to win
had.
this game with their weapons, with Nico Collins and Diggs out, I think the Jets are going to expose them, and they're going to find a way to win. But I'm going 21-16 Jets. You seem to agree with me on that.
Hmm.
Ravens, this game, I'm going to go 23-10 Ravens. Ravens are one of the healthiest teams in the league right now. They don't have any season-ending injuries. The Broncos have multiple season-ending injuries at inside linebacker, but their secondary is really good. They've got two of the top 6 corners in Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss, and they got their nickel corner. They got Damari Mathis, who was their number 2 corner first 2 years of his career before Riley Moss took the number 2 corner job as the nickel. So even though the Ravens traded for Deontay Johnson, this is a really tough matchup for Lamar Jackson with the 3 cornerbacks that Denver has. Um, I know the Ravens' pass defense has been shaky this year, but they're going to turn it around at some point. Marlon Humphrey did practice today. I think he's coming back. So I'm going to take the Ravens 23-10. I don't see the Ravens losing 2 in a row after dropping an egg the Browns, but this could be, if the Ravens' pass defense continues to struggle and the Broncos' corners show up, this could be a game Denver steals, but I like the Ravens at home.
Yeah, and no, I definitely take the Ravens on this one, and but Bo Nix here is, he's your offensive rookie of the year. It's one of those things, that this isn't one of those systems where they're coming in and teaching them some, air raid offense, some RPO kind of thing or whatever. This is an actual NFL offense, with what is going on in Denver, and like I said before, Sean Payton was going to see Drew Brees and Bo Nix, and that's why he's going to do that. And there's just no one else standing out. There's for, for the star power.
Outside
But
of Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and the tight ends, Dolchich and Troutman, there's really nobody else that stands out on the offense. And Bo Nix feels like he has to do a lot more than he needs to, despite having a really good offensive line. That's the thing with the Broncos right now.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think
But
this
yeah,
is also the first year where each of the top 6 draft picks has been featured as player of the game at least once this season. I only award player of the game to the winning team. So Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, Chargers right tackle, did win player of the game last week along with May. I know May left that game injured. I wanted Christian Gonzalez, but there was no photo of Christian Gonzalez versus the Jets on Twitter. So I had to go Drake May or Jacoby Brissett, and I went with May. As critical as that sounds, and Malik Neighbors went 6. So this is the first year where all of the top 6 picks in the draft won player of the game at least once as a rookie through the first 8 weeks of the season. And Bo Nix has had an impressive rookie year. You mentioned him. Latham was the 7th pick in the draft. He's had a really bad rookie year for the Titans, but we both have the Ravens winning. The next game is Raiders-Bengals. And, this is a game the Raiders could steal. I mean, Bengals left tackle Orlando Brown looks like he's going to be out this week after getting injured in the Eagles game. T. Higgins probably going to miss his 2nd game in a row. The Bengals secondary has been shaky. If Burrow has some turnovers and the Raiders execute early, this is a game they could steal. But I like the Raiders to barely cover the spread. I don't think the Raiders are the same team without Adams, but I could see Bowers getting like 11 receptions, 70 to 115 receiving yards, and 1 or 2 receiving touchdowns. I could see Bowers putting up that type of stat line in this game, but the Raiders losing because they don't really have anybody else outside of Bowers. I like Jacoby Myers as a number 2 receiver, but he's not a number 1. And trading Adams basically for slot receivers have to be number 1, number 2 guys, and it just downplays the entire offense. If
yeah.
it comes back, you can run some Tampa too. 12 2 tight end sets.
If this were a team, that had Aiden O'Connell, I would say that, but he's on IR now, and Gardner Minshew's a stopgap. They already know what he is. Aiden O'Connell can develop. I don't know if I really see him see them doing that right now with the mess that they have there, and already trading off Adams and everything else. So yeah,
And they
no.
traded for Desmond Ritter. No, they didn't trade for Desmond Ritter. They signed Ritter off a practice squad. So if Minshew struggles, is there going to be a game where Minshew does so poorly he gets benched for Ritter? Because there was a game where he got benched for O'Connell against the Broncos. That's how he lost the starting job. Is he going to play poorly enough to where he gets benched for Ritter? That's the question I'm beginning to ask myself. It's beginning to linger in my head, William. I don't think
Hmm.
we're there yet, but I'm beginning to ask myself that question until O'Connell returns.
Yeah, and I'm sure that might just happen with what's going on down there in the fracture within that franchise, and that's exactly what they have between the quarterbacks and the coaching and such. But yeah, I say there's a very very real chance that Minshew gets benched for Ritter, because they're gonna be wanting to see what they have in him.
Yeah, and I just think we're at that point where if the Raiders get blown out or Minshew has a bad game where he throws 3 or 4 picks, they're just going to bench him for Ritter and see what they got with Ritter until O'Connell comes back.
Hmm.
Next game is Cowboys-Falcons. I would take the Cowboys, but the Cowboys still have some injuries. Diggs and Bland did not practice. Micah Parsons didn't practice. DeMarcus Lawrence is still in IR. Falcons got Drew Dahlman back at center. He got injured in week 3 against the Chiefs, was on IR until week 7, was eligible to come off in week 8, but the Falcons eased him in. He's going to be playing this week in week 9 against the Cowboys. So the Falcons are going to have their entire offensive line at full health for the first time since the first quarter of week 3. And let's face it, William, the Falcons' offense has gotten a lot better since Dahlman and Caleb McGarry got injured in week 3 against the Chiefs. McGarry came back, Dahlman's back, so you're going to have the Falcons' offensive line at full health. And Cousins has played out of his mind from weeks 5 through 8, really having some signature games against the Buccaneers. Give me the Falcons. I know they lost Rondale Moore to a season-ending injury, but the rest of their offense and defense is fully healthy. I'm going 30-23 Falcons over the Cowboys in a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'll definitely take Atlanta over this one. I'm pretty sure that Dallas might be tanking as well. Trying to get some star power of their own down there, and see what they can come up with. So yeah.
The Dolphins play the Bills. I've got the Bills winning 35-14. There's a meme, and the meme says, if the Bills win this game, the Buffalo Bills can pull off the Nashville Hawk Tua, because they defeated the Tennessee Titans, they defeated the Seattle Seahawks, and now they face Tua Tagovailoa in his second game back from concussion. So, the Nashville Hawk Tua is on the table for the Bills. I think they're going to get it. 35-14 Buffalo over Miami.
Yeah, Buffalo and Miami. That's always one of those rivalry games that comes down to just how much teams want it, or how much of a hot streak they're on. But I see Buffalo really trying to close in on something in the AFC East, and that's I'll take Buffalo.
Saints and Panthers. This is probably the first game William and I are going to disagree on. We've agreed on every game so far. I think we broke down 5 games so far. There's 15 this week. We broke down 5. This is the first game we're going to disagree on. It's Saints, Panthers, and Carolina. I know Derek Carr is coming back, but the Saints still have injuries on the interior offensive line with Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz out. I like the Panthers to pull the upset, 23-20. I think Bryce Young is due to win a game. Panthers only won 2 games last year. A home win against the Falcons, and they beat somebody else they beat the Texans last year. Bryce Young did beat C.J. Stroud last year. That was how the Panthers got their first win of the season. And then they beat Atlanta. Both of those were home games. So this is a home game for Carolina. I like the Panthers by a field goal, 23-20. And the over-under is 43.5, so I'm barely taking the under. I'm guessing you've got the Saints winning this one with. Yes, Spencer Rattler got benched for Jake Haener. Haener looked a little bit better than Rattler, but it still wasn't encouraging to see. Your camera's upside down, William. But maybe that's your impression of Bryce Young with the upside down camera, or me picking Bryce Young to win. I don't know, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like the Panthers. Yeah, your camera's upside down again, William, and I can't hear you. Yeah, we'll wait for William to fix his camera and then let him give him, because I don't know. Steve, you got that Steve Smith jersey in the background. I know you want to pick the Panthers, but you don't trust Bryce Young. That's why you're probably going to pick the Saints. I'll wait for William to fix his audio. I got this coffee I can drink. Only reason I'm drinking this coffee is because, you know, I was tired earlier, so I didn't want to fall asleep on the live stream. Yeah, so we'll just wait for William to fix. Your camera's upside down again. Turn it this way. There. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, if William, I will go through my picks as soon as William gets his camera fixed. Yeah, if William does not get his camera fixed by the time I'm drinking this coffee, then I will go to the next game. But I'm only halfway through the coffee. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know. Let me see if I can actually flip your camera. Or let's see. I don't want to hide. Is there a way to flip the camera angle so that people, because the camera is upside down. I don't think William means for this to happen, but is there a way that I can revert the screen or rotate the screen? Because I know you can rotate images in 190-degree angles, 120-degree angles. Is there to flip the stream? Should make that an option, I think. I don't know if they will, but Restream, if you're listening to this, make that an option. So that if we're in a situation like this, I can just flip the angle of the camera in a 90-degree, 45. There we go. William, just keep tilting it to the right. Keep tilting it to the right. Keep tilting to the right. Let me text William. All right. If your camera's dying, we'll get to the next game. I'm just going to try to rush through this. Chargers, Browns. I think the Chargers are healthier than the Browns. And usually after Winston has a 0 interception game, he throws 2 to 5 interceptions the next week. I'm expecting that bad week to come in Cleveland. And I like the Chargers 21-17 in a defensive game. Browns defense is going to put up a fight. But I just think the Chargers want it more, and the injuries to Owusu-Koramoah And, the injuries to Owosa Koromoa and Jordan Hicks, I think that's going to be the difference. And with Denzel Ward out of the lineup, I don't think the Chargers are going to be stopped. Ladd McConkey looked amazing against the Saints last week, and they had all three of their corners at full health: Lattimore, Adebo, and Lante Taylor. So they could score on those. If Ladd McConkey could score on those corners, he's going to have no problem with the Browns if Denzel Ward's out of the lineup. And I think Dobbins is going to feast in Cleveland like Eckler did back in the day. Commanders, Giants. I'm going to go Commanders 20, Giants 14. If William wants to break down some of these games when his audio and camera is fixed, he can. But I'm just going to read through what I've got so far. Patriots head to Tennessee to take on the. I like the Patriots 20-19 in a defensive game. Honestly, we don't know if Drake May is going to clear the concussion protocol, but he's in stage 3, which means he's practicing, but he hasn't been cleared yet. He's practicing for 30 minutes, but hasn't been cleared to play yet. So I think he's going to end up playing, but we'll see. Even if he doesn't play, the Titans have just disappointed. And if Rudolph is starting against Brissett, I'll take the Titans. If it is Drake May versus anyone on the Titans, Levis or Mason Rudolph, I'm going to take the Patriots. It's that simple. This game comes down just to Drake May's availability against the Titans. Next up, Jaguars, Eagles, and Philly. I like the Jaguars 24-17. I know the Eagles are favored by a touchdown, but their left tackle, Jordan Mailata, is injured. Darius Slay is injured. If Darius Slay is out, the Jaguars are going to have an easier time passing the football than the Eagles. I mean, the Jaguars lost Christian Kirk for the year, so they're going to be very reliant on Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabriel Davis. They don't really have a number 3 receiver that could step in. And Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, those rookie corners for the Eagles, have been excellent so far. So I do think the Eagles have a chance to win this one, but without a good left tackle, Jalen Hurts is going to have not very much time to throw. And with Josh Allen Hines and Trayvon Walker, I think the edge rushers get to Jalen Hurts this week. I mean, Lane Johnson did get injured in that game, but he did return to that game in like the third or fourth quarter after getting injured in the first quarter. Bears, Cardinals, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray in a 24-21 high-scoring game. Comes down to a field goal, comes down to who has the ball last at the end. I think Arizona ends up having the ball last at the end, and I like the Cardinals 24-21 over the Bears. Lions, Packers. This was the game of the week. I'm going to go with the Packers 28-20. Well, 55% of the public's betting the over. I'm going to go with the under here. Over-under's 48.5. So if the over-under gets lower to 47.5, I'll probably change my score to 27-20 or 28-19. But either way, take the under. Regardless of what Vegas sets the line at, I'm going to take the under. I think Lions-Packers is going to be somewhat of a defensive game. And the Packers have a defense that can limit the Lions to 20 points. It's healthier than the Buccaneers defense that limited the Lions to 16 in week 2. Rams-Seahawks. I like the Rams. I don't have a score up for this one yet, but I am going to take the Rams to beat Seattle on the road. Sunday Night Football is Colts-Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings. It's Joe Flacco versus Sam Darnold. I think the Vikings have to get back on the winning record, and I think they are going to handle business against the Colts. And then the Monday night game is Buccaneers-Chiefs. I do think the Chiefs are going to lose soon. I mean, if they can get by Tampa Bay and Denver at Arrowhead without a loss, you're looking at Kansas City potentially going 17-0 if they can beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I don't think they will, but, the Chiefs, they're going to have to play Pittsburgh and Denver on the road in week 17 and 18 as well. So there's that. You also have to look at that when assessing the teams. But, the Chiefs are in an interesting spot. I thank William for being here. I know his camera was having some difficulties, but I appreciate him. I appreciate him being on, and we broke down all the games, and we'll see. We'll see if William gets stuff fixed. But yeah, I'm Chris Ransom. I'm signing off. Good night.